Right. Yeah. Ecom Summit.
Yes, I saw that announcement. Very excited. Awesome. Jamie, I'll just get this streaming. Just a reminder, everybody who's logging on, this will be put in your membership area, and we also stream it live into the private Facebook group as well.
Yeah, good. Good to see. What's up, Manya? See Mary, Lori. Manya just down the street for me. Kelvin, one of your fellow Texans up in Dallas, right? Outside of Dallas. Chad here in Georgia. Andrea, Angela, Andrew. Oh, Colt. Oh. Welcome, Colt. Jennifer. Yeah, so good to have you guys on here. And yeah, let's we'll hand it over to Chelsea in a moment here. But yeah, it's really good. Chelsea, you guys, has a ton of expertise in the industry. She's spoken at a lot of the top events and always has like really good actionable information. She's spoken, I think, maybe twice in our AIMS Insiders groups. She is the co-founder of SoStocked, and which is like the leading inventory management software the last several years, which was acquired. She had it was an exit and kind of an acquisition with Carbon6. So she's now part of the team with Carbon6, leading the efforts there too. I'll let her share more about herself, but yeah, definitely listen to her. Trust me, pay attention. She'll have some really good insights. And I'm excited for the topic today because it's a little different than what she's spoken on before, I believe. And so yeah, Chelsea, welcome. And if you want to share a little more about yourself, by all means, but excited to have you here with us today.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. And very excited to be here. It is not a topic that I've talked about in a while. I've been focused on inventory management with my company SoStocked, but on the side before that, I was talking about talking about copywriting. Have a lot of background as a writer. And so when I came in to start selling on Amazon in 2014, I started to, without knowing it, develop specific techniques that, it's one of those situations where you don't realize that not everyone is doing something until you get into masterminds and start sharing, some of the things that you're doing, and people, all of a sudden like, hey, I did that thing and it helped me with my business. My conversion went up. And so I started talking about copywriting on stages and on podcasts in 2017, 2018. And then SoStock came about, kind of pivoted in terms of what I wanted to show up as. It's one of those things in terms of branding. Never wanted to look like a guru. So I have kind of shifted. We've been running the copywriting business on the side all along, and worked with hundreds of Amazon sellers to help increase conversions and developing out techniques specific to Amazon for copywriting. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. It's not going to be specifically focused on AI, but it's one of those subjects that you can't really get around these days. So I will have some feedback on AI and some tips, and then some things to avoid as well. But mostly it's about foundational copywriting techniques that really focus on conversion, which then leads to more ranking, more traffic, more sales, and more happy sellers. So yeah, so I can go ahead and I'll share my screen.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna make you the co-host there too, to make sure you can share your screen. So you should be there.
Yeah, it looks like I can.
Awesome.
Cool. So let's see.
Those cool colors.
Yeah. So yeah, so I copywriting secrets to maximize conversions. And I already shared a bit about me. My company is called Catapult Conversions. And I'm going to make a couple of bold statements right now. I thought it would be fun to make bold statements. There's not a lot of, there's a lot of feeling that copywriting isn't as important in terms of the impact that it makes on a business, right? There's a lot of focus on images, but sellers, most sellers and even pro copywriters don't really understand or know how to write for Amazon. And that's because it's different than any other type of copywriting. It's different than what you would write on Google, where, for Google search engines, people are looking to research things. It's different than what you would write for your own website, what you would write for a Facebook ad. These are all different types of platforms that need different types of writing. And Amazon is a comparative buying platform. So that needs to be understood as the foundation for the techniques involved in building copy that converts. These copywriting techniques can be a secret weapon because people do overlook copywriting, which I find interesting because it's one of the oldest forms of selling. And it tends to be overlooked because people think that people don't read copy and people don't read bullet points. And yet we've seen a lot of conversions based simply on changing the copy. So it is important, and it is something that can give you a competitive edge because people overlook it so much. Second bold statement, as I said, people don't read bullet points. Correction, people don't read your bullet points. There are sellers who say people don't read bullet points because they're exchanging decent copy for decent copy. In order to make people read your bullet points, you have to have great copy. You have to have specific technical things that you do to guide a person to actually read your bullet points. Similar to how we consume content on the internet, it's very much based on attention span, very much based on having to stand out. And we're going to talk about some of the techniques that we use personally to get people to read our bullet points. And then some things that are standardly done in the industry that sort of force the eye not to read bullet points. And it's pretty much the template that everyone follows on Amazon that leads to that. Lastly, sellers are at risk right now of becoming AI lazy with listing copywriting. It's very easy to write copy with AI. And the problem is that AI is derivative, which means that it's going to sound like everyone else's. And so we go back to, being good rather than being great. And AI also presents the opportunity for foreign language sellers who tend to write copy that stands out as being English as a second language. Now they can run it through AI and sound just like you. So it is important to be more competitive, even now as people are starting to see AI as a tool that they can use for copywriting. Like I said at the end, I'm going to share some AI tips. And we also have a PDF that we can share that has some of the AI prompts that are tend to be useful for copywriting. So let's talk about quickly the results. We've gotten a lot of results for clients with these techniques, either from our own work in the agency or from them simply taking the techniques and applying them to their business. So things like taking your conversions from 5 to 15 or 20% on a trouble product, making a 5-minute change to how they positioned their copy, and it presented them with thousands more in sales. Here was one of our clients who increased their sales by 150% and 15% conversion to 40%. And then this is a friend of mine who was about to throw away this product. He was using another service, and I said, let me try to do your copy. And he ended up in 3 months being able to increase his sales by 800% on a product that was not really selling very well. So anyway, those are some of the success stories to really impinge upon you that copywriting does work and it can be impactful. We're not going to get into images, but everything that we talk about with copywriting applies to images. It's a story that you want to tell and a feeling that you want to give. And it can be the research and the work that you put into copywriting can be translated into the imagery that you're using in your main and secondary images, as well as your A+ content. First and foremost, one of the most important things is the words that you're using. One of my favorite books that I read was called Words That Work. It's not what you say, it's what people hear. It's a book that was written by a Republican speechwriter, and he talked a lot about how just shifting the word completely changed how people felt about specific, really important topics. So considering that a word might mean the same thing, but a similar word, even though it means the same thing, can make your buyers feel something different. So some of those examples are cheap versus affordable, right? Cheap gives a connotation of being low quality, and affordable makes you feel that it's good value for the price. So really thinking about the words that you're using. Artificial versus synthetic. Artificial feels fake or unnatural. Sometimes if you have keywords that use this, you can sneak it in, but don't necessarily be very prominent with those specific terms. Synthetic gives you a positive feeling, seems more like it's an engineered quality. Standard versus classic. I see a lot of people use standard, and it really makes you feel like it's ordinary, it's unremarkable, but classic gives a feeling of being timeless or elegant, right? So yeah, important to consider the words that you're using. And again, if you've got specific keywords that have some of these words that make you feel a little bit less confident, you can find ways to bury them further in the listing in less prominent spaces. So the first thing that I talk about is called the hook. I refer to it as the hook. It's something that, like we talked about, comparative language. In stories and in scripts and movies, the hook is something that they refer to, which means it's the thing that grabs you and pulls you into the story. So a hook in your listing is something that pulls you into wanting to read more. The most important copy in your business is going to be the first few words of your first bullet point. It's what hooks people in and makes them see that your copy is actually worth reading, because most copy is there to house keywords and to give standard features and that sort of thing, and isn't really structured to engage. So there are ways to use your copywriting to draw people in and to get them to realize that you're going to tell them something that they haven't read in all your competitors. The hook, something about the hook and the understanding of the customer journey on Amazon is that they came to buy something, and then they get blasted with all of these different options. And so before we're even talking about the pain points that your product is going to solve, you need to solve the first pain point that is the first pain point of every single customer, no matter what they're buying. And that is which one to buy. They already know they want the product. It's a buying platform. Now they have to compare you to your competitors. So your number one job at the front of your listing is to show why they want your product over your competitors. So the way that we do that is we actually look at negative reviews. Negative reviews are very helpful to understanding how your product fits against your competitor's product. And you want to use those at the front of your Amazon listing, and you want to use comparative language. So we're going to go ahead and look at some examples. Here's an example of, this is an electronic scrubber, facial scrubber. And if you look at the first few words of the first bullet point, and actually a lot of the copy, it really does not inspire anyone to want to buy. First, it talks about it not having batteries included. So I definitely wouldn't want to lead with that. There's a lot to be left, desired. And if this was my competitor, I could go into the negative reviews and start to look at some of the themes. And actually, just to kind of throw a really cool AI hack into here, Bard can read listings. So you can plug your competitors in. We used to have to go through and read the negative reviews ourselves, but we can go in now, and these prompts are in the AI prompts book that we have. You can plug into Bard, Google Bard, and say, give me the negatives and positives about this particular listing, and it will pull them up and categorize them. You can even ask them to give you quotes that you can then use within your listing. So here, it didn't work. It was weak. It was too small. So those are some of the top complaints about your competitor products. And I would take the top 3 to 5 of your competitors. You can go a little further than that, but that should give you enough ammunition to get started. So let's say this is our product. The copywriting isn't bad, actually. There are some things that really work within here. So things that stand out to me talk about advanced cleaning, right? I don't know exactly what that means, but I want it. More than 300 oscillations per second. The other listing didn't talk about how many oscillations. So if my competitors aren't talking about the number of oscillations, even if they all have 300, if I'm saying it, they have doubt in their mind as to whether my competitors have it. They don't know how many oscillations per second. So this seems kind of fancy, right? Talking about being effective. There are 2 brushes. It works with multiple different speeds and levels. It's got a high speed setting for deep cleaning. So these are some of the things that really stand out. And you can go ahead and I really like to highlight things. So sometimes I'll print something out and I'll highlight some of the things that really stand out as good features. It's probably the way that my mind works. It really helps me in that process. So here's what I would say, just taking some of those best pieces and then taking those negative reviews and being able to work against what my competitors are finding in their negative reviews. We like to use, like I said, comparative words. So the first few words should immediately tell your potential buyer that you're comparing yourself to others on the market. So we say avoid facial cleansing brushes that are too small, too weak, or simply just break after a few uses. The Hansen electrical face brush has an extra large cleansing surface, uses a sonic frequency of over 300 oscillations per second, and will last longer than other brands on the market. This means a deeper clean for your face and younger, clearer, more beautiful looking skin for you. So let's break down why exactly this works. First, we have the hook, right? We're addressing the #1 pain point, which one, by comparing you to your competitors, by saying avoid other products that do this or that, right? Next, we are highlighting the negative reviews of our competitors. Then we're addressing what improvements we've made over the competitors. So you don't want to just say that you're better. You want to explain why. And there's a bonus for if you have a scientific, technical, or design differentiator, right? Or again, if they don't mention it, you can say it and highlight it. And even if you've got the same type of a product, you'll stand out as different. Then lastly, the benefits. So deeper clean for your face and younger, clearer, more beautiful looking skin for you. What are they going to get as a result of your product being better? One note of caution, we used to be able to say anything that we wanted on Amazon listings. You can't directly attack your competitors. It's probably well enough known. No mention of brand names, but we used to be able to be a little bit more, I guess, jugular, right? We can't use wording against them, so we have shifted to being subtle. Remember, it's not what you say, it's what people hear. So you can't say things like, unlike other products, or other products do this. You have to say things like avoid products that, or when buying a product, you want one that can, or even the average product does this, you want this instead. So that sort of thing, you kind of skirt around directly calling out your competitors. All right, so the first thing that you want to do is the hook, and then you want to give them specific feeling as they're reading through your copy. Of course, a lot of people like to talk about customer avatars, and the AI is actually really good for helping you to build your customer avatar. You can even use specific brands that you admire and have AI help you to define a customer avatar based on some of the other companies that are well known. So first you want to know who is your product for and who is buying it, right? That's not always the same thing, because if your product is a product for a kid, the kid is generally not going to be the one who's buying it. So you want to speak to the person who's buying it so that you can address those concerns or address the desires of that person. You know, if a grandma is buying a present for her grandchild, you're going to speak a different way than if the kid was actually buying it. Then you want to know what problems it's solving, what desires are being fulfilled through your product, and you want to have them feel that experience as much as possible. So one of the ways to understand problems, you look at, does it solve time problems, money problems? Are there health or weight problems, beauty problems? Are they trying to solve household problems with their kids, with messes, such as, you know, organizational products? There's a lot of different problems that your product could solve. So you want to narrow in on what are the most important problems. So of course, then we look at, okay, what is the reverse of that? Time savings, better organization, customer service you might speak to, or clear instructions. There are complex products that come without instructions, and everyone who has ever bought on Amazon has probably experienced getting a product that had no real instructions and was very difficult, if not impossible, to figure out. So that might be something, if you have a product like that, that you can have an edge out on your competition just by utilizing that in your copy, even if those problems don't truly exist in your competitors. You probably heard this: people buy on emotion and they justify with logic. So you want to hit them with emotion, and then you want to be able to give them the logic that they need, where we talk about the materials, the design, the features, all of that is the logic that goes behind what they're going to feel when they have that particular product. So the product information is the logic, and really understanding and knowing how to inspire a potential buyer is the emotion that comes along within your listing. All right, so how do you actually do that? So if I had this particular product, this is an organizational product for the backseat of a car. They actually do a pretty good job with starting out. I'm going to skip over this little subheading. We're going to talk about that in a little later. But I really like what they've done here. Traditional car seat back organizers and kick mats start sagging, breaking down due to weight and use. However, our car backseat organizer boasts sturdy support, strong buckles, and long straps. So this gives us both of those things. It tells us what we're going to see in our competitors' reviews, and then it also gives us an understanding of why it's better. We're not just saying we are better, we're saying here are the design differentiators. All right, and here is a lost opportunity also within this listing. Talks about pockets to store almost about everything for travel and daily routine, be it crayons, coloring books, stuffed animals, tablet, diaper, and it goes on, and it has this whole list of things that could go in this product. Those are not keywords, so they're not helpful in terms of ranking, and we already see everything in the picture. So it really is a waste of a keyword. Instead, you can take this keyword and figure out how to put emotion into the feeling. So you could say something like, no more fumbling around your car for this or that coloring book or snack for your little one. Our backseat car organizer will restore order, sanity to your everyday life, saving time and discomfort and keeping everyone calm, happy, and self-sufficient. Now, I would weave more keywords in there and we can shorten that up and tighten that up, but that's just an idea of how to invoke emotion by painting a picture. So the things that we talk about, we give the picture of losing time, fumbling, frustration, crying kids in the backseat, you know, chaos, this general feeling that a parent can have at times when they have a backseat full of kids all wanting something different. And then the desires are having more organization, sanity, more calm, less time struggling, more self-sufficient kids being able to grab what they need instead of the parents always having to pick up the dropped items while their kids are complaining, right? So the next bullet that we often do will always end bullet 5 with telling them who you are, giving a path to brand loyalty, because people don't want to purchase from a conglomerate, right? There is a definite supporting of small businesses, and more people are understanding that small businesses do sell on the platform. Back when I started selling, not a lot of people really knew that small businesses could sell on Amazon. They thought that everyone was selling, you know, Amazon was selling all of the products. And so people like to be able to connect with a brand, understand where that brand came from, know what that brand stands for. And so that is a real opportunity, not just for brand loyalty in terms of them being a repeat buyer, but also they'll be more willing to contact you before writing a negative review because they see you as a real person. So you're not just a product, and you're not just a listing on Amazon to them. You can be shown as a real person and a brand that has a purpose and is doing good things for their family, for their community, for maybe some charity. It's important to start to establish that and to help to, in your Amazon listing, start building a relationship with your customers. So there are 2 types of brands generally when you're trying to build brand loyalty. There's mission focused and there's lifestyle focused. So mission focused would be things like Tom's shoes, right? For every one of Tom's shoes that is sold, a child gets a pair, a child in need gets a pair. So this is very mission focused. People who buy Tom's shoes want to support those efforts. Another mission, I remember when Dove soap started to transition, back in my day, they didn't really have this campaign, but introduced this campaign focused on real beauty and self-love, positive self-image. So some of the language that they had was everybody is beautiful, and we're on a mission to help the next generation of women realize their full potential. So there was definitely a shift to being mission focused, and the result was a lot more support and sales for Dove soap. In terms of lifestyle focused as a brand, think of brands like GoPro. Talked about living an extreme life. So very much here's a lifestyle, here's how certain people live their lives, and you want to be part of this tribe. Words like be a hero, beat your fear, be adventurous are some of the things that went into those campaigns. And then CrossFit. CrossFit became an obsession, and people are still obsessed. The CrossFit people are super intense people, right? It's very focused on community, identity. It's borders on religion. CrossFit is my drug. Your only limit is you. In WOD, we trust. It's a workout of the day, right? So it's very much an intense lifestyle and identity that is enveloped in CrossFit as a brand. So then you can decide which one you're going to represent. And you can be a little piece of each of those, but drawing that line in the sand will help you to distinguish your voice and how you speak within your copywriting. So you can use phrases like we believe, we stand for, our mission is, You can tell your personal stories. Some people have a brand because they weren't able to find the things that they needed. Some people wanted to help pets, and some people wanted to help their family, talking about being a stay-at-home mom or a working mom who wanted to improve her condition. Those sorts of things are really great if you have those personal stories. Also, if you donate or support a specific charity, that's a great thing to put into your copywriting. You can use words like quality, integrity, mission. If you're going to talk about your customer service, use terms like customer experience versus customer service. Again, it's those words that make us feel a specific way. We've all had negative experiences with customer service not being very well served. So customer experience has that different connotation and feel. Some of the ideas and things that we could say specifically focus on our brand loyalty would be, we take this product is an organizer for kids to plan out their outfits for the week. Our bullet could be, we believe in making everyday life easy and fun, and that in helping you to do this in your own household, we are creating happier moms and happier families. For this product that we talked about before, we can talk about, we are real people who use our own products every day. We expect the best for our family and want the same for yours. All right, so sharing that little piece of your life with others. Our mission is to empower women to look just like you, to look and feel their best every day. All right, how am I on time? I have 10 minutes. Just want to make sure.
Yep, you're doing. That's
Cool.
great.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into subheadings. This is when I talked about the techniques that are being used throughout most listings. Subheadings is one of those things that is very standard and that makes me cringe because of what I know that it does for people who are reading your listing. So there's something that I call selling on the skim. Subheadings are those things that are those all caps at the front of anyone's copy that end with a colon or a dash, and then the bullet continues. So if people aren't reading your bullet, it's your fault, and it's because you're not building your bullets to be read. You use that subheading and that colon or dash, and you're immediately telling someone to stop reading, and that you've given them a summary of what you're going to talk about. So selling on the skim is how we fight against that. If you think about how people consume content on the internet, and I'm guilty of this too, there's a lot of content and there's a lot that's hitting us at all times. And so it's getting harder and harder to keep an attention span. Think about how people read blogs. If I saw a blog that said the top eight things to do for losing weight in the new year, I would go to that and I would look at those bullets. What are those 8 things? And I would read down those 8 things. Maybe if one caught me, I would start reading that, but I'm skimming through that. I'm not reading the entire blog. There's a lot of fluff at the top generally. You got to scroll down. So you want to avoid creating a feeling that people have to read everything. You want to allow people to skim and yet still get the most important pieces of your copywriting. So the first thing to do is to stop using those subheadings, because those subheadings are going to create that element of writing, those points, those bullet points, right? So stop using the subheadings, but I'll show you what we end up doing instead. And then there's another element to selling on the skim. So we have this is exactly what I'm talking about, these subheadings: convenient, storage, and cleaning, dash. And then it talks about some things that I really, don't feel very compelled to read. Easy use, can be heated directly in the stove. So this is talking about a burger press, but it's not very easy to read and it's kind of boring. So instead, what you want to do is you want to eliminate those dashes and those colons, and you want to create a, it kind of works as bold would work. We can't use bold in bullet points, but it kind of works the same way. You want to use all caps at the front, just like we generally do, but then you want to end those all caps in the middle of a sentence, because as human nature is, we want to finish thoughts. We don't like to end in the middle of a thought. So the top of this would be, you don't want a burger press that, and it automatically guides your eye into wanting to read what the rest of that sentence is. We're also using words that are comparing to competitors and giving us an idea of what we should look out for. So it's creating a little bit of a mystery as well. And then what we do beyond that is we use all caps in specific places so that I can skim through. And if I just read those all caps, I would get a really good idea of what elements, in terms of design, in terms of, you know, the emotion, in terms of what I'm going to get and the benefits, just by reading those particular areas that stand out in that way. You don't want to do too much, because then it ends up just being, you know, a whole block of text. You know, I would actually potentially thin this out a little bit as well, but just kind of use your best judgment in terms of your eye and what you want to highlight. Just a piece of caution. There have been some warnings about a year and a half ago. People would get emails, very, very rarely, but people will get emails to say to remove all caps in listings. Haven't heard about this in probably a year, but Amazon doesn't seem to be enforcing this heavily. They've just sent out emails to a couple of people, you know, like I said, over a year ago, and the results far outweigh the risks in the case of most people. So we'll always, when we do copywriting, we'll always offer both versions, and it's up to the seller as to what they're comfortable with. All right. Just to come back to this, I wanted to make sure I kind of skimmed through this, wanted to make sure that it's kind of more obvious in terms of how to make these items stand out. You can see the large 4-inch round with engaging locking mechanism. I want to know what that locking mechanism is. Maybe my competitors don't have that. Talks about how much heat it can withstand. So I can skim through that listing, and I'm going to read that listing a lot more likely than I'm going to read the listing here. All right, so that's the end. I do have a couple of quick AI tips after that, and then just to drop a couple of links to some of the free downloads that I have. So AI quick tips. AI is really great for what we call blank page syndrome, not knowing what to do, where to start. It's also great, like I mentioned, for developing your customer avatar, brainstorming ideas. So things like social posts, that sort of thing. Writing expendable content, social media posts, it can be great at helping to craft those, especially if you have your customer avatar or your brand avatar already built into that thought process. But when I mean expendable content, I mean things that aren't going to live forever. I don't recommend using it on sales copy. You could give yourself a starting point, but you really need to be thoughtful as to how to actually use these techniques within your sales copy. You need to verify facts with AI. AI isn't always accurate, and from what we've heard within the community, ChatGPT is actually potentially getting worse. So you need to always verify the data that it's giving you. It's not very good at keywords, especially long tail keywords. So you have to consider, I've tried to take a listing and say, use these keywords and do a keyword replacement. It can't figure that out. So keywords is definitely something that you're not going to be able to pass off to AI. And then shortcuts can end up taking longer. So if you think that, okay, I'm going to do, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to make this make it write this great blog post and you don't give it enough direction, you can end up spending more time trying to get it to do what you want it to do than actually stepping back and composing something yourself and having it cut down into doing pieces, and then you piece the rest together. All right, happy to answer any questions. If we don't have any questions, we can share some of the additional links that I have.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I like that. I like that one around the the caps into the sentence. That's pretty clever.
Mm-hmm.
People want to.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a while. It really makes a huge difference.
And then Chelsea, what about putting like emojis or anything in your listing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we used to do that. There was a period of time in which people were getting slammed for it. We dropped it and then we never really adopted it again. It's good for some brands if they are going to go that route. It's good for some brands and not for others. If you're, a serious health brand, for example, I probably wouldn't, health or beauty, depending on how you want to be seen. Kids brand could be fun, even like a gardening brand. So really depends on your brand, and you have to take that brand identity and figure out if it's something that would work for you.
Yeah, that's good advice. I like that.
It also takes up keywords, character count. So
yeah.
That's something to keep in mind.
I'm going to check the private group and see if there's any questions over there, but you guys can keep talking.
Sure. Yeah, we do have a special coupon code for you guys, and we offer a free analysis. So if you're interested in having your listing looked over and just get some feedback on some of the things that can be done, you can send us a request for a free analysis, and we'll run that for you. I can share that. The coupon code is AMZ Insiders for obvious reasons. And so we give you a discount if you end up doing a listing with us, but the free analysis is you can get from going to this link, and just we'll fill out a form for what is your particular product.
Awesome. Manya is asking, do you adjust your word copy for male, female audience, like strong words versus soft words, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So that's where, you develop your customer avatar, because as the saying goes, if you, try to market to everybody, then you speak to nobody. So looking at who's going to buy this product, right? And if it is a very giftable product and females buy, because females actually end up buying more than the men. Women shop more in terms of the household. So making sure you know who's buying the product, but speaking, definitely, if I had a beard brand, I would definitely have stronger, more masculine language, as an example.
And then Angela's asking, Jamie might jump in on this too, how would I use Bard to help me identify my avatar? Like, what do they ask specifically? Like, what prompts?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm going to share a link to the AI prompts that we have, and it will help you to define that. But starting with explaining, I have a product that does this, this, and that, and listing out what your product is. And you can also provide, I would love to sound similar to brands like, and if you have specific brands that you are wanting to model after, you can incorporate that. So just telling what the product is, telling what problems it solves for an age range, for example, and then listing out brands that you'd like to model after.
Awesome. We have another question. Henrietta says, I've been struggling with Amazon denying her listing in skincare when I try to list the features such as vegan or plant-based, natural, etc. Do you know a workaround?
Sure. Yeah. So Over the years, we've compiled a list of over 200 terms that Amazon doesn't like. Some of them we've taken from actual documentation in their policies, and others we've just learned along the way. You know, someone submitting their listing and it getting flagged, and then us having to go through and find it. And things have definitely shifted. We used to be able to say eco-friendly. Now we can't say eco-friendly. Then we changed to earth-friendly, and now we can't say earth-friendly. So we are now saying kind to the earth. So it's things like that where Amazon's got a lot of badges now. You have to prove a lot of things, and some of it has been in terms of social pressures, and some are governmental pressures in terms of not allowing the Wild West, because people can claim anything that they want. So there are specific terms, and if you did our analysis, then we would run it through those list of terms and help to identify what are those keywords that are potentially causing problems, and then coming up with alternative ways of saying the same thing.
Very cool. And then Michael's asking, says it's been very insightful. Thank you. Do you all offer listing creation or just optimization and analysis?
Yeah, so listing creation, we'll start a listing from scratch, or we will take your existing listing and adapt it using these specific techniques. The listings, either one of those is going to be, usually it's $397, which is very well. We haven't raised our prices, I think, since 2018 in the beginning when we started. And then we're offering you a discount to $350 per listing if you use the AMZ Insiders code.
Awesome. Thank you for the discount. It's awesome because that is a really good price for a listing.
Cool. No problem. Yeah, and then this is the link to the sales boost analysis. So if you want to either scan that or grab this link and plug it in, you can submit for an analysis. And then we also have the AI prompts, which are here. So this will give you, I believe it was Angela who was asking, how do I identify my avatar? There is a prompt in there to help you identify your avatar, and then help you to take that, and it instructs you in terms of strings, right? So I need my customer avatar, and then I need to know how to build emails, right? What would I write in terms of blog posts or social posts, and how would I write them? And using your customer avatar and kind of building that process as Bard starts to learn to speak within your voice for those things, especially if you're trying to build an audience and you've got socials and emails and blog posts and those types of things.
Awesome. Yeah, Maurice was asking about the emojis. Like if you wanted to use them, would you put them in front of the bullet points?
Yeah, that's what we would do, is just put it in front of the bullet points. I think it looks cleaner that way. Some people use them throughout. I don't necessarily like that, but it's, you know, a matter of taste. And then just stepping back and observing what is the feeling that I get upon first impact. If it's stuffed full of emojis, or like I mentioned, if it's too much all caps, it could feel overwhelming, and then it actually repels a person from wanting to read. How does Bard compare to using ChatGPT? So Bard can actually read the internet, ChatGPT cannot, and ChatGPT is only current up to September 2021. So I found that Bard actually is a lot more useful for specifically for your Amazon business. It can analyze, you know, like I said, analyze your competitors. You can look at what are the negative reviews. And again, we have that in the AI prompts, how to analyze your competitors using Bard, and how to compare your products to others, because you can plug in multiple different listings. You can plug in your listing and your competitor's listing and say, why would you buy my product versus the competitor's product? Or why would you buy the competitor's product versus my product? And it can do an analysis of both and compare them and say, well, this one has these benefits or that one has those benefits, and give you some ideas on how to better position your product.
Yeah, just to add, if you are using Chat GPT, I'd say I think the key is to use some of the plugins that can then help with that. Although even some of the plugins have changed, because the one I was using mostly to read websites, that one disappeared recently, but they've got a few others that can still do that. But that is cool that Bard can kind of do that built in.
Yeah. Exactly. Chat GPT is also, AI in general is bad at math. I know we're talking about words rather than math, but I tried to do some things with inventory and found that it's really good at formulas, really bad at the final math. So always check the facts, check the math whenever you're using Chat GPT.
Yep.
And probably, Bard as well.
Good stuff. Well, really good questions for everyone. And this will go into your membership area as well too, once we have it. And yeah, that's really cool. You have the book there. Is that like an ebook? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a download. So it'll give you all the free prompts and you can copy them and paste them in.
Awesome. Well, Chelsea, as always, you over deliver. So that was really, really good insights. Again, it's, as you guys saw, it's just like really practical, actionable perspective. So that was really cool for stuff that you guys can implement yourselves. And again, appreciate you making the offer for people to take advantage of kind of your expertise directly as well.
Sure. Yeah. It's really great to share this. I love talking about this stuff and I rarely get a chance to. So I appreciate you guys inviting me on to do that.
Yeah. Cool. Joe, any final thoughts?
No, but now I'm thinking about my listing. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go get it analyzed. So yeah, thank you. It was awesome.
Nice. Yeah. Happy to.
Awesome.
Well, thanks guys. Appreciate you guys.
Likewise, Lisa says, great info. Thank you, Chelsea. Maurice, thanks. Andrea, yep, thanks so much for the prompts. Lori, thank you. Very helpful. Awesome. It's always great. Calvin, great information. Thanks for sharing. Henrietta, thank you. Great info. Thanks so much. From Angela, great guidance. Look forward to using our Agency Insiders discount. Look at all that. Awesome stuff.
Awesome. Thanks,
So much
guys.
love.
That's right.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, everyone have a great week. And Chelsea, thanks again. And we'll see all of you guys next week. Thanks, Chelsea.
Awesome.